Single-use plastic pots create unnecessary waste in the production of gardening plants, so I wanted to use my coffee-based clay to create an alternative.
My first attempt was really crumbly and I couldn't turn it into anything useful, but I played around with the recipe a bunch and I was able to make something much stronger. Upon doing more research, I discovered that cornstarch would really strengthen my material, so this recipe has much more cornstarch. In this attempt, I added more glycerin in an attempt to make it more malleable, but all it did was make it spongier and much more brittle. This is my fifth recipe, and it's definitely the strongest. This is the recipe that I'm going to continue using for my final product. I wanted to see how my material would biodegrade, so here I put it in a cup of water and let it sit for about 25 minutes. It started to dissolve and break down, start to flake off. I imagine that if I put it in dirt, it would biodegrade even more.
To make this material, we first need to dry out our used coffee grounds.
Next we'll weigh out our dry ingredients. I did 40 grams of dried coffee grounds, 45 grams of cornstarch, and 20 grams of gelatin, but I found that strawberry jello works just fine. In a separate bowl, we'll get 100 milliliters of water, along with 10 milliliters each of glycerin and vinegar. Then we want to mix up all of our dry ingredients thoroughly before we add our wet ingredients. Combine them and set them to a low heat. Over the course of the next 10 minutes, mix occasionally as it starts to solidify.
You'll want to mold the coffee clay directly off the stove while it's still hot. For this test, I've put the material into a cup to make sure that it could retain the shape well. And here is that form after the clay is fully dried. As you can see, it retains the details of the form quite well, despite minor cracking.
This is the final molded form that I want to achieve. I made foam models and vacuum formed them to make the mold cavities.
And here's my final form after it's dried. I drilled some holes in the bottom so that the roots of the plant could escape into the dirt. Due to the acidic nature of both the coffee and the vinegar, this product would be best suited for plants that favor more acidic soil, such as azaleas, hydrangeas, and daffodils.